To make it clear, right now there is already in the world an organization called UPBF. UPBF is exactly like the FIFA. It's an organization which regroups 5 confederations. It's the same kind of organization is federation. So federation is an association of association. Basically, our sport today, and this is a little bit of weakness, federation in the world, there are not a lot. There are a few in Europe. Basically, today our sport is a little bit organized on the business American model with private league. But in some country, and a lot in Europe, it's organized as federation. So it's the case in France, in Poland, in a lot of countries, in Portugal, where you have an association which regroup clubs and is under an umbrella of a federation. So in Europe, we have what we call the EPBF, the European Paintball Federation, which regroup this federation, which are official governing body of the sports in their country. Sometimes recognized, sometimes not recognized by the government. But this is the structure. So right now in Europe, the EPBF regroups 16 federations. We have as active confederation as well the APPBF, which is the Asian Pacific Paintball Federation. We have another one, which is the African Paintball Federation. But there is nothing in South America today and nothing in North America today. It does not exist. So we have this UPBF. Now the WPBO, what it is. I'm not going to say it's a competitive organization, it's a different one which regroups private league. So basically today inside the WPBO, so far the founding members are the NXL, or the Millennium, the PALS, which are private structure, or coming now the SARPL from South Africa, and coming to join a lot of private organizations like the GPL, which is private, the CPPS in England is private, the CXBL in Canada, etc., etc. So more or less the difference is that the WPBO is regroup the private organization and the UPBF, the federation. In the perfect world, there should be only one. But the problem is that in each country, there is no federation. Right. So my goal is to have both organizations to work together. And I don't think, and it should not be a problem, that both works together right now. In the future, we might have some conflict of interest, but today is not the goal. The goal is to have an harmonized sports, to play the same sport all over the world, to have a real governing body where people can talk with, and mainly is harmonization what we're trying to achieve. Is to have in the future the same ID card system. So we're working right now with different type, but we hope to have, or either with the APPA or another organization, one system in order to have a unified ranking for the players, but as well for the teams. So it's really we're speaking of harmonization, and to have a body which, because this is what is the lack, what is missing in the sports, to have an organization which is going to grow the sport, because we need desperately to have people to work together to grow the sports. Today there is no industry or association, which is also need to happen sooner or later, because the paintball need an association of an industry association to defend the interest and to work together to grow the sport. And here at the PBS Extravaganza, where we are, a lot of people, a lot of site owners. I was at a meeting today where they really want to have this happen. But today, to go back to the WPBO, basically, yes, it's an organization to grow the sports. And we are trying to do a lot of things. So, for example, one of the things is to have the an harmonized field. We have been working hard to work on a new design which make the game better. A lot of people have been thinking, I read a lot of things and I didn't have time to explain how we achieved to come with this wind bunker and this field. It's not to sell more bunker. And by the way, just for the people know, we are not going to change the field for several years. So there won't be upgrade kit next year. People can feel comfortable.
Field owner buying this field now.
Now it will be the same next year. What is important is that what we tried to do since the beginning, we decided to, because we needed to protect, we came with the idea of the W, for WPBO, to have this wind bunker. So we start with a bunker, which were more or less the same as the race bunker. If you look the shape of the wind, and I will publish the first W which we came, is the race bunker, with two legs on the side. When we try and test this bunker, it didn't work out, because what we wanted to do with this central bunker, we wanted to go back like the game was played in the late 90s, where we wanted to have a bunker like a wall in the middle, which cut at the break first, cut more shot than today, because there are too much, how do you say in English, too much people which are dying at the break today. Today is very difficult. What you have to understand, this bunker design, we had a book of requirement, and we tried to modify, and we modified the bunker until we respect the book of requirement. What was the book of requirement? We wanted first that at the break people have the possibility not to go to only 2 or 3 safe bunker, but to 6, 7, 8 bunker. Today, whenever you play the Millennium, the NXL or the PALS, you can barely go to 3 bunker to be sure. Right. All the other bunker, you take a risk. So today, so the game today and the pro team, basically, they don't want to take any risk, so they go to this bunker. The 5 players, they go to always 2 or 3 bunker, and after they move. And it's already difficult to reach this bunker today. The level of playing when it's so high today that even to reach the first bunker on the field is difficult, and we're losing sometimes player. And we're speaking of athletic player. Now, when you speak to when you're dealing with a guy which is 300 pounds, which is not an athletic guy, even to go to the first bunker is difficult for him. So what we wanted to achieve with this bunker is that this guy, which is not playing tournament paintball, is coming to have fun, is playing perhaps tournament paintball, but at a lower level, he can now have the possibility first to go easily to the first bunker, but you can go to 3 or 4 bunker and staying alive. Because when you pre-bank, you don't see. Right. So this was the first. The second thing we wanted to do is to stop all these guys dying at the break, to have not only 2 or 3 positions, but 6, 7, 8 different positions to reach easily, but at the same time to have this bunker in the center where when you go, you don't die. And like in the past, when it become very important, today you have players. You have, I would say, snake player, Dorito player, back player. Central player you don't have anymore. 15 years ago, central player in your team was a key guy. The guy in the center? There was at that time a lot of big bunker. People probably don't remember. GT had a big Temple, Angel. There was a big AAA. It was massive bunker, and it was important to know how to play this bunker. Usually, you need a guy which was a smart guy, a guy not going to shoot a lot of paint, who feel the game, who were going not at the break, but sometime in 2 steps. He was going to do. That guy was most of the time making always 1 or 2 kills during the game, because that guy, as soon as he have reached the center, or he was stopping guys to go to the snake or to the Dorito, but he was going in the middle and shooting, because people forget him on the field. If you have no communication, they didn't even know he was there, and as soon as he feel it, he was going in the middle, shooting 1, 2, 3, sometimes the entire team. It happened. Today it's not possible anymore, because the bunker we have designed, whatever for the PALS or the Millennium M or the race bunker for the NXL, it's a bunker that is difficult to stay alive. As soon as your opponent knows you're in the middle, you're dead, because you can be shot in the foot. So when we designed the win, at the beginning there was that hole in the center, in the middle, so we shut down that hole. I mean, we moved that bunker probably 20 times. I've got 20 different prototypes until we finish with this win, which is not very, I won't say it's ugly, but it's not looking, it's not very fancy, let's put it like that. Right. But we achieved what we were looking. It's very effective now. It's perfect, and we tested some pro team. I mean, we have very smart people who have been working on this. Like,
so let me ask you this. So when you say we,
it's the WPBO. Oh, it's several people.
So who is involved?
Oh, I've been involved for example, it's not a secret. I've been involved Dave Benz from Edmonton Impact. I've been involved Jason Trazen from Houston Heat. I've been involved player from the Tauntauns. Who else have been involved in the center space? There was another guy from Europe. So more or less 4 or 5 players, which are experienced players. Jason is not playing anymore. He was the coach of Houston Heat. Apparently, he's not anymore this year. But people who are or good player or good coach, we have the experience. So we work on this. So we have been testing it until we achieved what we think will change entirely the game. Because the game now, I can tell you as today, the game is changing entirely the way it was played before. This center bunker is becoming a key bunker, like the snake it is and like the Dorito side, but in the past it was not played. So now you need to play. So at every point you need to have a guy to go in the center, or you need to have the guy to take out the opponent which is at the center.
Right.
So it's going to be completely different to play the game. It's going to be also way more interesting to watch, because the problem we have today is the way the game is played is really boring to watch. As a TV spectator, but as a spectator, it's a nightmare, because more you go on the tournament, it's exciting the first game where the pro team, for example, testing some crazy move, but more they advance, we finish in the semi-final and final with the most boring game possible. And I can give you example. I mean, the last semi and final of the NXL or the PSP the last 5 years has been a disaster, but it's the same in Europe. It's the same at the Millennium. It's the final usually now getting boring because nobody wants to take any risk, because there is no incentive to take risk. So the people, they rather to stay at the back to shoot ton of paint until they manage to shoot 1 or 2 players, and if they don't shoot, they start at that time to move.
So in testing, that you found that this field layout encourages more movement, allows people who are unathletic to play more effectively.
Oh yes, right now you're going to be able to take snake or Dorito in once. If you want to take the risk, you can. You can go to at the break, you can go to the center 9 times out of 10 if you want. It doesn't mean that you go in the center, you're going to win the game. I'm not saying that if you control the center, you win, because it's easy to get it, but it's also easy to have somebody, because you don't see him arrive and to shoot you in your back. Like it was, like we were playing with the bumper, all these big bunker in the center. In the past, it was like that. It's not because you control the center you're going to win. It can be an advantage, but sometimes it's not an advantage. It's the way the team is going to react, get the information. There is no more coaching, so you don't have the information. You don't know if there is somebody in the center, because it's changing a lot the way the game is played. So it's going to slow down sometimes. Some games are going to be more fast. But I think it's a big change. He allowed also a lot of players which cannot play anymore the game to come back to the game. So a player like me who stopped to play because physically I'm not in a good shape, I can go back to play today easily.
Change subject real quick. So when you said that the field layout's not going to change for a couple of years, so next year there's not going to be a new field.
Exactly. Very big note.
Is there a set timeline on that? Is it this field layout's going to be run for 2 years?
I don't know. Which I know as today is that for 2016-17 there will be no change. This is for sure. Now if we find out that some bunker that we choose or not, we can replace some bunker to make the game better, we will do it. Right. For example, we try to combine in the States, for example, to upgrade the existing field is only 6 bunkers, sorry. In Europe, we're changing 19 bunkers. It's more or less 50% of the field. Right. In Asia, for Asia field, we're changing more or less 15 bunkers. Because what we try to do as well is to put only big bunker. So the field have a lot of, we get rid of all the small bunker, only for the snake side.
Right. Okay, so now shifting gears, WPBO, we now have the new field layout. One of the missions of it was kind of unify rules.
Yeah, which we did.
Which you did, but then shortly after the Millennium comes out, and you now have introduced the M500.
Okay, this is, since day one we explained, the WPBO explained that a few weeks ago, WPBO made an announcement that the WPBO is for the M500, and encourage the leagues to use M500, because the M500, one of the most important things which is happening right now is that we are losing teams, we are losing players, we are watching all over the world paintball field, tournament field, I'm speaking about tournament field only right now, closing because they don't make enough money to keep their sites running. It's not financially viable. The team are stopping to play because it's getting more and more expensive to play the game like it is today, because you need more and more paint because you need to train more and more. So right now, we have been, the EPBF mainly in Europe, have been testing the M500 during 2 years, and the result we had was insane. Because what we find out is that we are saving an average 50% of the paint expense. I'm going to call it on the paint budget. So 50% on a season, on the budget of a team is 30% saving. It's a lot. And also what we've discovered, and this is very important, is that the way the game is played is way better. This seems crazy what I'm saying, but the change is incredible because you cannot keep lines. You cannot, because you're limited in paint, you cannot have a guy which his mission is to shoot a window or a bouncing on a bunker and shoot 10 pots. You cannot do this. So what it changed? It changed that now you have to change entirely your way of playing and go back to a game which is way more strategic, a game where you need to think more, where you need to make more movement, where your mission is to get as maximum as angle, like it was between 97 to 2002, where we were shooting already fast gun, but we could not keep line because the gun was nearly impossible to keep 10 balls a second. Some people were able to shoot 10 balls a second, but during a short period of time, like a 3-4 second maximum. Now today, anybody can shoot 10 balls a second thanks to the gun, thanks to the ramping, or all the assisted mode. And the problem we have is that the game has become, how can I say this? On the top of being boring, the game you have now played, which are robots, they have tactics, they don't even know how to play really the game. They are probably good as shooting, they are probably good as holding a gun, but they don't feel the game, they don't know when to move. They are robots, basically. So the game, I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm saying that today the game like it is we went to a level that now it costs a fortune to the player and the money is on the ground. The money is waste. We have to pay people to clean. Now the paint on the floor, it has never been so expensive, while the paint has never been so cheap. And this is what is crazy, is that today people need to realize that the paint manufacturers are not making a lot of money on the tournament paint, because it costs a lot of money to make a good tournament paint. So they are not making money on the paint because they give a lot as sponsorship. They help a lot of the paint manufacturer. So at the end of the day, it's a losing situation. Paint manufacturer not happy of the situation because they don't make money on the tournament paint. It never been so cheap. The team, it costs them a fortune to play, to train, and at the end they don't even have more fun because it's not fun to play. Some take a little bit of fun, but in reality, when they are going to test the new format, limited paint, they are going to play like we used to play 15 years ago. There was way more fun, way more movement. People were feeling the game. People like players like Oliver Lang, Justin Rabakov, Justin Fedorov. Suddenly we're going to see them again, and plenty of new kids, which I don't know. All the people who feel the game were going to create again star, because this guy on the field now, they are going to shoot a ton of players. You're going to see this guy making crazy moves and shooting 2, 3, 4 players at every game, because these players are way better than the normal player, and they feel the game. They will know exactly what is going on the field, and they will make the move and shoot play on the back. They will arrive, and you will see crazy moves. Today, why we don't see this move? Because we have these kids, which even without any talent, they are crossing the field, shooting line, and you cannot move anymore. So some pro think it's a disadvantage because they used to have. I own a team which shoot a lot of paint, and they take advantage of shooting a lot of paint. But I know they will do very well even if they are limited tomorrow, because they are very good players which feel the game, which are excellent in one-on-one, excellent in accuracy, and they are also players among which are feeling the game. They will make the right move. So I think they will take advantage. They don't see it today, but I think they will understand soon.
So would you say the bigger advantage is the change in gameplay or the cost of
both?
Participation?
Both. And this is why today, after 2 years of testing, and we have precise stats, it's the first time there is such a big change in the industry, because it's a big change, which have been such study. 2 years of study, we have tracked, we know exactly the saving based on how your team play is between 40 to 62%. It's a big, some teams are going to save 62% in paint, the one which are shooting a lot today. So we have this number. After, the good thing also is that
so it's a 60% reduction in paint.
60% on some is 40, so let's say an average is 50%. But what is interesting as well is the game is way better to play, way better to watch. So the people who are filming, doing live webcam is more interesting. I was telling to people this week, recently I have probably the future Prime Minister or very important minister who came at our last event in Chantilly at the Millennium series in France. He came for the final because he was there for the award ceremony. And he came to the most boring game of the event because it was the final. And I was embarrassed because he asked me the rule and I explained the rules. And there was basically, he saw 5 guys shooting 10 pot each, not moving a single feet of a bunker.
Playing the sport, he didn't find
it was dramatic. And the same thing happened this year at the NXL. I watched, I think it was Houston in Impact, a 15-minute game or 16-minute game ended up with 2-1. We see 3 points. We have seen each player shooting 12 pots, each of them. I mean, it was the most boring game I've seen this year, probably. And this is not happening with the M500. M500, you're going to see a lot of drama. We're going to see a lot of game ending with one-on-one, which we don't see this happening not often. Sorry, I've got a flu. We are going also, and this is the key point, we are going also now to have, and this is important, the site operator understand. The site operator now, or tournament promoter, now can make more money also out of this, because I was explaining to an American promoter a few minutes before we do this interview.
And you can put up a chart.
That is a guy who's charging $500 the entry fee today to play his event in the States, his series. And he told me, okay, my guys, my average teams shoot 30 cases of paint. I'm selling $50 the paint, I'm making $15. So the guy basically on a team, to run his event, he have the entry fee, $500, he's got 30 times $15, $450, so he's got $950 per team to run his event. And the team, if you make the math, they are going to spend 30 times $50, which is $1,500 in paint and $500 on entry fee, so $2,000.
And this question was based on an average of 30 cases.
Yeah, 30, exactly. And this is the average he has. So the team is coming to his event, spend a lot of money, $2,000. And he make the profit before he have all the spending, he's got $950. And I explained, I said, listen, if tomorrow your teams are shooting twice less, they are going to shoot only now 15 times $50, so $450 of paint. Now the entry fee, let's imagine you double your entry fee, $1,000 you charge, not 500,000. So the team now is spending to play your event $1,450 instead of $2,000. It's a big. It's
over a 25% saving.
Over 25%. It's $500 less, and we are going to have more fun. And you now are making $1,000 plus $15 only on 50 cases, so it's $225. So now you're making $1,255. You're making way more money than before. The team are saving $500. You're making more money. Everybody is happy. The money is not on the floor anymore. Is in the pocket of the player, which they, with this money, or they can play more, or they can trade more. So it's a winning situation for everybody.
So now, for Millennium Series, did the entry fee prices increase?
This year, some division increased, but by $50, something like that. So there is not a massive. What we don't want to take opportunity. First, when we decide the entry fee of this year, we didn't know we're going to M500. We went to M500 recently. It took time because we sent a survey to all the team. Honor, and it took us nearly 3 weeks to get everybody voting, especially when we start to see the result. When we start to see that 70% were in favor, I told everybody, guys, we need to better have 80% of the teams to vote to have an accurate. And more teams have been voting, he kept this number. And even in Pro, in CPL, or Pro team, which I was expecting the other way around, because in Pro, most of the teams don't pay the paint. So this one, basically, are not affected. So I was expecting the reverse. I was expecting 70 teams again, 30 teams for. It's the opposite. We had 72% of team in favor of the M500,
right,
which I'm very surprised. So this is why. So basically, I'm not saying that if we have new, we'll have increased the entry fee of the Millennium. Which is good is that the team, at the end of the year, they are going to see how much money they will have saved. So this team first, they might play more. This is the good thing, or they will save more to play more events. But the good part of also is that some teams are going now to be able to play the Millennium of other event, because today they were not. We lost a lot of teams in the last years which quit because they could not continue to afford. So I think it's a must move. And if today there are some skeptic people, they will have to see in Europe what will be the result at the end of the year. I'm speaking right now for the American. A lot of Americans were in favor. At the NXL, a lot of people were in favor, but they think it was too much change this year. So to go back to the rules basically are still the same. What changed is that it's limited. So of course it changed the way the game is played.
So the basic rules are the same across.
All the basic rules are the same.
The only difference is the Millennium series is adopting the M500 with the paint limitation.
Yeah, but it's not only this is what is important for you to know. It's not only the Millennium series, it's all the league all over Europe. You have to understand that the French Federation is going to use M500, the GPL in Germany using M500, the CPPS in England using the M500, the Federation in Poland, in Russia, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Russia, everybody switching M500. So it's not only the Millennium, it's a big change.
So do you anticipate after a season of the Millennium or all of Europe using this format, it's going to cross over into the US, Asia? At this point,
yes,
speculation.
I really believe, yes. It's already, South Africa are switching in M500. In Asia, some part already switching. In the States, every time takes more time in the States for various reasons. And I think that when they will see the result, they will switch, especially because I think that the site here, promoter, people running tournaments are not making enough money. They are relying too much on the paint. So for me, the entry fee they are charging is too low. They're not making also a lot of money on the paint, but at the end, for the team, it costs a fortune. So like what I just explained before, the site, the promoter could increase the entry fee. The team could save a lot of money because they shoot less, and they will have more fun. So this is what it's important to understand, is that this rule, this change, have a lot of benefits. It's not only saving money, it's that the game is better to play. The good player will enjoy. Right now, a lot of people, and especially the 30% in Europe, which are yelling, and we only them right now, which are saying it's bad. And some people, they didn't even try the game. So they don't even know. And the pro is the perfect example. The pro have to adapt. If they are good pro, they have to adapt. If we tell them you have only to play with 10 balls, they should adapt. It's like Formula One. Formula One have limited a lot of. Formula One, I know in the States is not famous. NASCAR is famous, but in the rest of the world, Formula One, it's something important in the car race, and they have had a lot of rules in the past where they have been limiting the speed, now they limit everything because it will be a nonsense now to do not limit because the car will go too fast. So they limit everything. They limit the time, they limit the stopper, they limit the gas, they limit the speed. Everything now it's limited. And I think there is a reason behind, and this is what we're trying to achieve today. For the industry also, it's a big change for the industry, because for the industry now, you better make a good quality of paint because you need to break. You better use also a good gun, very accurate. You better use a good barrel. Today I've seen a lot of kids, they don't care about the barrel. My first 2 balls needed to reach my target and break. Right. Today they shoot, okay, thousands of paint.
All the details become more important now.
Exactly. So the paint, some manufacturer, if they are smart and they are very happy of this change. People making barrels are very happy because they know that they are going to sell more barrels. Gun as well, paint as well. You better make now a good quality of paint because it's not the quantity which matters, it's the quality. Right. So it's going to help also the industry to a point. But the most important is to save the tournament paintball, because the combination of the field design with the paint, I strongly believe that is going to save the tournament paintball. And it's I might be, people might think I'm utopist when I'm saying this, but I can bet more or less everything I have today is going to happen. And I've been part in a lot of change in the paintball industry. I'm in the paintball industry now since 26 years, and I've been part of a lot of change. And I think this one is the biggest change since the last 15 years, and is going to really save the tournament paintball, because right now tournament paintball is way too expensive, and not everybody can afford anymore, despite everything has been cheaper. Even accommodation have never been so cheap to travel. In the past, people also don't know, but in the past, the number one expense was travel and accommodation. Then was the entry fee, then was the paint. Today, the paint is number one, the entry fee came second, accommodation came third. There's something wrong. There's something completely wrong. It should still be the same. And it's not the same because we're using too much paint.
Right.
And we lost the fun. Because I'm sorry, but it's not fun anymore to play. I mean, the one who are still playing can say this, but look, the number of teams we have, it's go down every year.
All right. Thank you very much, Laurent. I think that about covers it.
I hope it's clear. Sorry for my accent. I've got a big flu. We are here in Washington. It's quite cold. I'm not used. I'm coming from the sun. So, but yes, I hope we will have the chance in 1 year to have the same interview and to see the result, because yes, it's a big change. When we announced this a year ago, we call it a revolution, and I really believe it's a revolution in our sports.
We're looking forward to watching it.
Thank you.